All right, guys. Sibheke ulokhuzana manje 1.1.2. 1.1.2, we're still doing the same question. It calculates the value of the following without using a calculator. But now we have the sets. Now, if we have the sets, we need to remember some of the set laws. All right, so let's look at this one. When you look at your numerator, you have what? You have here's a set, here's a set, a simplified set, and here's another set, and here is another set. All right, but what is also interesting in this question is that you have what? You have brackets. So remember board mass from the earlier grades. Steps of let us start by removing those brackets. All right, so root of 3 times root of 3, your answer is going to be 3. And then root of 3 times square root of 6. Please remember that there was a set law here. If we have a square root of a times a square root of what? A square root of b, that is the same as saying square root of a times square root of b, which gives you what? Square root of ab. So we are going to apply that. What is it that we have here? We have a square root of 3 and a square root of what? Of 6. So we are going to apply this set law. Alright, so let's apply it. So this one is going to be the square root of 3 times square root of 6, which gives us square root of 3 times 6. So square root of 3 times 6 is square root of what? Square root of 18. That is why the answer engizoyibhala njengamanje izothi square root of what? Square root of 18. So the answer here is plus square root of 18, and then minus what now? We are done by we are done with removing our brackets. Minus square root of what? Square root of 50. Then minus 3, this 3. Remember, it's 3 exponent 0 from exponential laws is equal to what? Is equal to 1. Then in your denominator, you have a square root of what? You have a square root of 8. Then the next step after that, grade 11, it will be, remember you want to simplify this thing without using a calculator. Now we have a square root of 18, square root of 18 and square root of 50 and square root of what? Square root of 8. I am going to teach you or remind you this one so that just to enrich your mind and also to understanding mathematics better. But for examination purposes, somehow sinakuthi sibuye overlook ukuthi answer la izoqhamuka kanjani. Again, I'm going back to the same exponential, set law. It's square root of a times square root of b is the same as what? Is the same as square root of a times square root of b, which gives me what? Square root of ab. Should in this case now, just in a square root of 18, find out what we already have something like that. We have to now simplify it with the square root of 18 as a square root of 18 uqhamuka kuphi khona. So sivamise ukuthi sithi here, think of two numbers right u-18 wakho i-products engakunikeza u-18, but one number must be a prime number and one must be a perfect square. Without wasting time, kusho ukuthi u-18 singambhala as square root of what? Square root of 9 times 2. Why am I saying that? Because 9 is a perfect square and what? 2 is a prime number. And then we go back. Now it's like we are working backwards. Go back. This is the same as square root of 9 times square root of 2. So square root of 9 is equal to what? Square root of 9 is equal to 3 multiplied by what? Multiplied by square root of 2. this is going to be our final answer at the end. Let's do the same thing now with what? With square root of 50. Should in the place of square root of 50, let's do the same thing. Square root of 50. Now again, think of two numbers. My factors are 50. Multiply, one of them must be a prime number and one of them must be a perfect square. Remember, let's take 18 could be square root of what? Square root of 2 times 9. See this prime number bekade siyisebenzisile leyokuqala maningi amathuba futhi ukuthi iphinde kusebenze prime number efanayo futhi naku square root of 50. So ibambe leyo nto leyo. So siku square root of 50 njengamanje. Square root of 50 is the same as what? 2 times 25. 2 is a prime number and 25 is a what? Is a perfect square. So at the end of the day, this is the same as square root of 2 times square root of 25. So square root of 2, that is a set. And what is the square root of 25? It is 5. This can also be written as 5 square root of 2. So that is your square root of 50. The same can also be done with what? With square root of 8. Square root of 8 asphinde futhi square root of 8. Square root of 8 uyafana no square root of what? Two numbers. So multiplying 8, one of them must be a perfect square and one of them must be a prime number. Angeke ngishilo ngathi ubona ukuthi i-prime number kube u2 la ku18 kwaphinde kwaba u2 futhi ku50. Should ama chances maningi nala futhi ukuthi kube u2, because most of the time good people mangabe sibhala maths yethu, there is always a relationship between the numerator and denominator yakho. Should here we have 2 times what? Times 4, which is the same as square root of 2 times square root of what? Of 4. What is the square root of 2? That's a third, and this one is 2. This can be written as what? As 2 square root of 2. So I'm just explaining those things, guys, uzazi ukuthi ziqhamuka kuphi khona. But for examination purposes, even though the question says without using a calculator, you can simply press your calculator ikunikeze nje ukuthi square root of 18 uyafana no 3 square root of 2. Phinde futhi upress icalculator yakho ikutshengisa ukuthi minus square root 50 uyafana no minus 5 square root of 2. And then this one is minus 3. That divided by what? Square root of 8 njengoba besike samenza before uyafana no 2 square root of what? Square root of 2. So imark lakho bali solithola kephi khona? Solithola ekuthenini ukwazile ukuthi usimplify le yanto la ime kanje. So all that explanation ebekade ngikwenzela yona is unnecessary. Alright, that is why ungibona ngasibhala ngisho nokusibhala leso step leso. Alright, equal to sila. So now asibhekene, I'm sure you can see now this is 3 minus 3. What is 3 minus 3? That is 0. We are now left with what? 3 square root of 2 minus 5 square root of 2 divided by what? 2 square root of 2. Like I always say, there's always a relationship between the numerator and the denominator. I'm sure you can see here, this is square root of 2. This is square root of 2 and this is square root of 2. But looking at the numerator alone, you can see that square root of 2 is a what? Is a common factor here. So let's factor out here square root of 2. So this is square root of 2. So square root of 2, and this term divided by square root of 2, we are going to be left with 3. This term, the whole of the term, minus 5 root 2 divided by 2, we are going to get minus 5. That divided by what? Remember with denominator you have 2 square root of 2. So now you see what is 3 minus 5. 3 minus 5 is going to give you minus 2. Remember that square root of 2 also is a common factor, and with denominator you still have what? You have 2 square root of 2. That means your final answer here is can simply divide those two, so your final answer is -1. So laphana mawuthi uyabheka imali elibalulekile lokuqala nje ebekade singalithola lokuthi sikwazile yini ukuthi si multiply out leyanto leya. That is your first mark. And then another mark ebekade singibhekile lapha ukuthi wakhumbula yini ukuthi 3 exponent 0 is equal to 1. Then another one, like I said before, lapha ukusimplify leyanto leyana. Then after that wazile yini ukuthi usubtract lama sets lawa lapha phezulu noma ukhiphe i-common factor. Omunye phela ngithi bengayibuka lento as what bengabuka these two as in your, excuse me, bengabuka omunye as ama like terms lezi zinto zo2 ukuthi o square root about 3 ngisuso square root abangaki about 5 vele straight to minus 2 root 2 and then ekugcineni ke imali lakho bese kuzoba yinona, bese kuzoba i-answer. So that is 1.1.2. Please make sure that you take your time, guys. You listen to these videos step by step so that ungezuba nama questions amaningi and uzoyi understand i-mathematics yakho phinde futhi uyithande. Okay.